With the unemployment within the province being at 53%, what do you believe are some of the main contributing factors that has gotten unemployment to be that high in your province?
Thank you very much, Katlego and ESCA. I think one of the biggest contributors for the unemployment in the Northwest is that most of the investors that are investing in the Northwest are not actually assisting the province to cap the unemployment rate. And this is the reason why we came here and have a dinner with the investors to say, can we work together as government and yourselves to make sure that we cap the unemployment rate that is in the Northwest?
So what type of investors are you looking to attract, and is there a targeted amount that you're looking to achieve?
We had I think 6 sectors that we as a province has actually said we need to engage on the sector. And one of the sectors is we do have a special economic zone in the province that we want, and we think that if that SCZ can work, we can as a province try to fight the unemployment rate that we are facing now. The second one is agriculture. The Northwest is very rich in terms of the agriculture. We also rich in terms of the red meat in the Northwest. And we think that if investors can come and work together with us, we can actually make sure that the unemployment in the Northwest has been fought. The third one is a tourism sector, which we think that, and we are in the area of Bojanala now as we speak. And Bojanala is one of the biggest tourist sites in the Northwest. And the second one, we want to do a Dr. RSM, which we think if we can work together with the investors that we have invited, we can cap that unemployment in the Northwest province. So there are the health sector, the education sector that we think that if we can work together with these investors, we can actually make sure that the Northwest becomes a better province.
Speaking of that better province, I mean, you make mention of the issue of agriculture and red meat being quite prevalent in your province. Do you have cooperatives that are ready and waiting for when the funds come in, they would be able to hit the ground running in terms of farmers being available, not just for food security within the province and the country, and possibly for exports outside South Africa?
We do. Vryburg is a number one with red meat in the Northwest. We do have cooperatives there. And I think the meat that you also eat in Gauteng comes from the Northwest. So there are cooperatives that we think that if we can give them support and make sure that they process this meat, we can actually, as the province, make sure that the unemployment becomes a story of yesterday.
This initiative tonight comes off the back from some of the conversations that were had during the BRICS Summit that took place last month. Can you elaborate on some of what those commitments have been, and if you are achieving some of those objectives with regards to the conversations that are happening tonight with the investors?
Thank you. Indeed, we had an investment on the sideline of the BRICS Summit. And we had many investors that were in that summit of the Northwest. And one of the investors that promised us that they will actually work with us is one of the airports. You will know that we do have 2 airports in the Northwest, which we think if these airports can work, the tourism in the Northwest can make sure that the economy of the Northwest grows. So today we managed to get an investor. They are developing the airports, and they promise that we will have to work together to make sure that one of our airports are working. Secondly, we received a lot of I think I'm not quite sure about the number, but we received a lot of pledges for the Bojanala Economic Zone in Mokwase in Bojanala. And we think that if that Bojanala can work, we can actually make sure that the province as its own achieve its own purpose of the investment conference. So from the side of the investors, there are also those the Country of China. they are promising us that, and in numbers, that they will also work with us in terms of the renewable energy. You will know that this is one of the areas that make sure that the businesses are dying every day. So we received a lot of pledges, and we think that we are going to follow up those pledges, and we will also put time frames on these pledges to make sure that whatever we have agreed upon in this investment conference becomes a success for the better of this province.
From the conversations that you've been having, how much confidence do you believe the investors have with your province?
They do. Most of them, this is not their first time starting to invest in the Northwest, especially from China government in particular. They are here, and they promised us that they are going to work with us, especially in terms of the agriculture and the renewable energy. And we are trusting that if we can make sure that our processes, especially our SCM's processes in government, which I think sometimes are failing us, are going to make justice to this process. So because we want to follow the necessary protocols so that you are also not getting into danger that we did not do correct things. But we do have a courage, and I believe that no one can come here and spend this many hours and without sleeping. And I think they do have also some issues or some businesses that were to be done today, but they chose to come to the Northwest Investment Conference, which for me makes me comfortable to say these are the people that they want to work with us, and we are intending to work with them as the Northwest Province.
And in return, what do you believe the province would be able to give as a return on investment that would be a highlight for these investors?
I think because they are here when they invest, and they know that obviously they will get their money back. And as a province, we don't have money, like the Premier has already said, that government do not have a resource that can make miracles. But we believe in collaborating with them. So I think these investors, they know that when they invest in the Northwest, because there is a lot of potential, they will also, at the same time, benefiting from investing in the Northwest.
Then ultimately, MEC, what plans has the province put in place with regards to addressing the unemployment rate as well as the inequalities that exist within the region where these funds would then be channeled to?
We do have from the Department of Economic Development, which I think is the department that need to make sure that our people are getting jobs. We do have programs, but what we will do after this conference, we will have to sit down and make sure that our cooperatives are complying. They also in the system, so that when the time comes for these investors to come in the province, the money surround the Northwest Province. We don't want the Northwest money go outside, and we don't want the issue of this investor saying there is what we want as investors, for an example, from the mining, because this is normally a case. Mostly they will tell you that from the mining side, it's a rare skill that the Northwest do not have. And one of the things that we want to fight that is that we are opening a mining school in the Northwest Province, so that by the time we meet these young people more especially, and others who have an interest in mining, at least there is a university that makes sure that we also taking our people to this mining. So we are also going to open in that mining school, working together with the University of the Northwest.
Well, MEC, let's let you go and let you get back to the dinner. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. Very big promises as well as plans from the Northwest with regards to the funds that they're looking for from those investors. That was the Northwest Economic Development MEC, Virginia Galebekwe Tlhapi, speaking to us there about their plans for asking for these funds from the investors.